The noise woke him.
David, I'm frightened.
I am right here.
Get your hands off! Let's go! Let's go now, later! Julia! Julia!
Oh, we're tired of you Mormons!
Which one of you is David Whitmer? You know Joe Smith? You were with him when he saw the gold plates?
Get up! Yeah!
Oliver, what would you do with 50 pounds of gold?
It's not about the gold, David.
You need to write this exactly as I dictate.
It's been truly remarkable.
There ain't no grave.
Martin, when will you believe? I need some proof.
Ain't no grave.
When the book is done, Joseph has been commanded to restore the true Church of Christ.
Restore. You will see the plates. The Lord has declared it.
When I hear that trumpet sound, you're gonna get up out of the ground. Ain't no grave. Gonna hold my body down.
I've lost my soul.
Why is this happening, Joseph? Did you not see God? Did he not speak to you?
Yes, but he doesn't speak to me now. This time, Martin, we will listen.
You are intoxicated by the power of leading a believing people!
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Cast them out! Cast them out! Cast them out!
Now, tell us the truth of your lie, and all will be forgiven.
I am afraid I might disappoint you. The truth is, it is not a lie.
There ain't no grave. Gonna hold my body down.
Oh my goodness, what happens next?
Good question. Can't wait to find out.
Oh, same. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for this special broadcast as we talk to some of the creators of the upcoming film Witnesses, to be released this summer of 2021. That's right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We'd love for you to leave a comment and let us know where you're joining us from, where you're watching this from, and gosh, we're so excited. We are joined by a whole team of people who came together to make this film tonight. And we're going to start with the person you see on the screen with me. His name is Mark Goodman. He's the director of this film. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. Grateful to be here.
So you all may know Mark or his name from such works as Olympic Glory or Fires of Faith. And I mean, I guess I'll just kind of start. Why this film and why now?
Well, the film is being done for the Interpreter Foundation, and they simply wanted the story of the witnesses told. I think those of us who are Latter-day Saints, we've known of the witnesses all of our lives. Martin Harris, Oliver Cowdery, David Whitmer, but we know very little about their story. We know that they saw the plates, they know that they were witnesses, but we don't know why they left the church. And this film tells that story. And what I love about it is it goes into the relationships that they have with Joseph, that they have with each other. And one of the fun things about it is that as we did the first cut and we put it out and we had some people watch it and they kept saying, and we represent this as a true story. And they kept saying, why are you making stuff up? And we had to tell them, we are not. This actually happened. There is so much drama in this story that we didn't have to make things up. And so I love that about it. So much personal drama.
So that's what you make a good point that this is a true story. What were your references and sources for getting this information, these more personal stories? Because like you said, we do know of them. We know of, their relevance in a lot of different contexts, not only through church history and the scriptures, but also we learned more, I think, through saints and other volumes. Where did you go for these more personal stories?
Well, you mentioned saints, and the church has done a great job with that book and with those volumes, and I love that. They're telling those stories, and they're not holding anything back, and so that's great. And we have great access to scholars. There are so many scholars that have written about these the witnesses and about the early church history. Richard Bushman, Susan Easton Black, some of these that I used as my Bible as I went through. And I was very careful about making sure that we had that everything we stole, everything we told could be backed up. And so that was important to us.
That's wonderful. And of course, people can find out more. You can see across the bottom of the screen, witnessesfilm.com is the landing page so that you can go and watch the trailer again and share it, of course. Where was this filmed and how long did it take?
You know, from the very beginning, we determined that we didn't want to try and just film this in Utah. Utah is so dry and it's pretty tough. You know, as you look at some of these pictures, you know, that's the real deal. And so we had an opportunity to film near Boston in a place called Sturbridge Village. We went to a couple of living history museums where it's just like walking into the 1800s. We filmed near Ottawa, Canada, and had a great opportunity to be up there. Loved these places. It gave us the opportunity to recreate the story on a budget that we had, and we didn't have to go back and just build huge sets and those kinds of things. Everything was there ready for us. I have to say, as you saw the very beginning, you saw our poster, you saw the witnesses there. My goodness, look at that. Have you seen 4 guys that look that good ever assembled together? We were so fortunate in getting these actors and in what they were able to do. So talented. It was interesting I cast Joseph first, and then we got some of the others going, and Joseph, and then I think Michael next. I got to Caleb, and I said, look at these guys. And I was talking to my wife. I said, they are so good looking. Nobody's going to think it's real. And she said, you think that's a problem? And so I had to say, well, okay, I guess it's not. And there's one of them right there. Michael, how are you?
Oh, let's get
there.
Mark, hello.
How are you now? Now we can.
Oh, very well.
Awesome. Michael Zuccola?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's the one, yes.
Excellent. And you were cast as David Whitmer, correct?
I was. Thank you, Mark, by the way. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, go ahead. Please.
Oh, boy.
As we're casting this, one of the very first people I saw was Michael Zuccola. And he was right out of the box, right? I thought, well, this guy's good, yeah. But then you go on with the casting, and I kept seeing more and more people. And I found myself, as we did callbacks, I was directing them to be like Michael. Honestly, that's what I was doing. And finally I said, what am I doing? Just cast the guy that we want from the very beginning. Michael was the first one out of the box and just terrific.
Wow. How does it feel hearing that, Michael?
You know, I mean, this whole experience really, for me, truly has been a profound experience. Really, it's such an important thing for me. It's so special, very near and dear for me. And Mark and I often joke. We were joking on set a few times. He's like, you know, you were like my 4th choice. And I was, I said, well, I'm glad you went with the 4th choice. But you know, it's an extreme undertaking for me, and I truly hope that I service this as best as I can, and I hope that I hope I did it justice, because I can't. It's very important to me. This entire experience has just been very special, really. I'm on the East Coast.
There it is. Yeah. Thank you. That's, where are you watching from? The East Coast.
I am in Boston, Mass. I'm in Boston.
Excellent. And so, what was it? Well, you know what? What was it about the character that you found most interesting or most challenging, or what's your method? Like what did you know about David Whitmer before having this part, and where did it go from there?
Well, I can tell you, honestly, I didn't know anything prior to this experience. On getting the chance of the role and being cast in it. Obviously, I did some research prior to auditioning and things like that. But when you are finally given the opportunity, I did as much research as I possibly could to find out who he was, who the man was. And the one thing that I really took from him, the man moved around quite a bit. He moved from here to there, and everything strengthened his inherent belief that he already had, that he still possessed until his dying day, which I find very special. I really do. There was nothing that could take him away from what he saw, what he believed, what he wanted to believe, what he does believe, and I really try to have that with me, this sort of discovery of things. There were so many times, even on set, learning so much, and just going, oh, I didn't know that, but oh, that's why this happened, or that's why this happened. And I hope that I would think that David existing in that world was at that time going, oh, this is why this is and what this is. And, so that's what I held on to the most was his sort of, his grasp to his own beliefs. And what
we use Latter-day Saint actors. Well, we had the opportunity to film in Canada and in Boston. And so as we cast out of Boston, we have Michael Zuccola, who knows very little about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so he was learning as he went along. And for me, that was a special opportunity to work. Caleb Spivak as well. Same thing. He's out of Los Angeles and is not a member of the church. But two finer men you can't find. I'm so grateful to know them. I'm an old softy. I get emotional. They're like sons to me.
I love you. I love you.
I know. Had great, just a great opportunity for all of us.
That's fantastic. And so, gosh, I really like what you said, Michael, about that, about, that you learned before and then just kind of as you went, right? Because it's one thing to say that we know a character, looking back on their life story, but it's quite another to kind of go through the process and really imagine it and try and be there with all the circumstances.
Right.
And so, Mark, you mentioned Caleb also, Caleb Spivak, who played the role of Oliver Cowdery, correct? And so we're gonna bring him on too if we can.
Another guy with great hair, I've got to say.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's something else, the hair in this cat.
Well done. Congratulations on your hair, Caleb. It's really, well done.
Yeah, I would say my hair typically needs its own screen, but I was told that we only have 4 screens. So for the sake of that, I've tamed it a little bit. But thank you so much for having me, and Mark, very, very kind words from you. I admire you and look up to you, and really appreciate the opportunity to have worked with you. And hopefully there are many more opportunities in the future.
So, Caleb, same kind of question that I asked Michael, and especially knowing now the background that Mark shared, that what you and Michael have in common, that these stories that so many of us in this audience today are familiar with, it was brand new for you. So how did that affect how you approached not only your audition, but also how you performed your role throughout?
Do you want the truth or the romantic version?
You choose.
So, the truth is we get a ton of auditions, and you have a very quick turnaround, and you've got a ton of dialogue, and you have to quickly produce it and send it in. and it's on to the next thing. And you get so good and quick at learning dialogue and becoming a character and turning it in. At first, I didn't really know much about the project. I didn't know much about until that Mark and team were interested in looking, because there's so much more weight to being in a film like Witnesses, because it affects so many people and their personal beliefs. And so as an actor, our job is at the end of the day to entertain, but here there is the ability to be involved in something that has a greater mission, if you will. So it certainly provides a greater satisfaction as an artist to be able to participate in something that so many people around the country and around the world hold dear to them. But aside from that, as far as preparing for the character, this is a real person, and so you have to approach it certainly with that in mind. We didn't have video images until 1951, which was a whole century after Oliver passed away, and so we don't have video images to look at him. So as an actor, I get to determine what he was like, what were his mannerisms like, how did he carry himself. And you can gather a lot of those details from what's written about Oliver, but also the way that he was photographed, the fact that he was a teacher, he was very buttoned up, he was always well put together. And so you can piece together how you want to bring that character to life. And then obviously having Mark and Paul, who played Joe Smith, on set, and they just have an incredible understanding of the history of these individuals and of the church and of the scripture. And so if there was ever any doubt about how Oliver would have approached something, it was easily addressed with the rest of the team. So it was outside of filming the actual content, there were lots of walks on beautiful trails through Canada, having deep conversations, and it was really enlightening and really a once in a life opportunity that I'll be forever grateful to be a part of.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing all that. Witnessesfilm.com is what we are talking about today, and that's where you can again watch and share the trailer. Of course, I want to mention for everyone watching, we'd love to hear where you're watching from. We've had lots of comments, people up and down the Salt Lake Valley, in Salt Lake and American Fork and Elk Ridge, also in Maine and Eugene, Oregon, and Los Angeles. Speaking of which, maybe we should also turn to our good friend Lincoln Hoppa, who plays Martin Harris. Can we bring Lincoln into the mix here? There he is, and almost, yes. Excellent. Hello, Lincoln. We are just going to unmute you so quickly. And yes, here we are.
Hello.
Hello.
So glad to be here.
So you are a face that is maybe recognizable to you. I'm sorry, you're not a face. You have a face, which is probably recognizable to many in this audience. Where might we know you from?
I've been in a lot of really fun movies. Saints and Soldiers, Airborne Creed, people may recognize me from. Most often when I travel outside of the country, I get recognized for The Singles Ward, which I played DeVerl in The Singles Ward many, many years ago. So fun to do. But yeah, a lot of people still recognize me for that. I think I look a lot different, so I'm always surprised. So that's always pretty fun for me.
So how was portraying Martin Harris in general? If you want to compare it to Singles Ward, feel free, but kind of is, same questions as we ask the others.
Well, like the other guy said, it's a historical character, and so there's a lot of different things that go into playing an actual character from history. And I found it absolutely delightful to learn more about Martin Harris and to learn kind of, at least in my estimation, from my research what made him tick and what kinds of things he was about. I got to read this book. It's a rather thick book by Susan Easton Black and Mary C. Porter called Martin Harris, Uncompromising Witness of the Book of Mormon. I actually got to talk to Susan Easton Black.
Oh, wow.
Times, and she helped me. It was unreal. She's like one of the leading historians, and it was absolutely amazing. So I felt like I learned a lot of things coming in just academically. Then stepping into the scenes and stepping into the lines with these other actors, such as Caleb and Michael, as well as Paul, who played Joseph Smith, it took on a whole new life, and it gave me a whole new appreciation for the things that Martin Harris went through in his life. He had some pretty difficult times. He was always, at least in the earlier part of his life, on the wealthy side, but he had a lot of doubts, about himself and about who he was, and he just had this really childlike curiosity, to a desire to know things that were heavenly, and to know things about other people as well, and that for me was one of the places where I felt like he and I really we crossed over. I love to learn things. I love to discover things, and he was alive and in the crux of these incredible experiences at the beginning of the restoration of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I imagine he was just soaking those things in, and it must have been crazy for him. But I found it very interesting that Martin Harris really wanted proof. Before he became one of the witnesses, he really wanted proof that the Book of Mormon was real. He was often asking Joseph, "When can I see it?" And it just struck me about halfway into filming that he was experiencing all these incredible spiritual experiences, but at the same time, he just wanted proof, as if he were, unknowingly not being appreciative of the good part of what was happening, and just wanting that worldly proof. And of course, that all switched after he had his proof. I found that fascinating, that even though he was witness to so many amazing things, he still just wanted proof that Book of Mormon was real. He wanted to believe that God thought he was special, not just through prayer and through his own instincts and inspiration, but he wanted a little proof of that, which kind of to me felt like that was one of his character flaws, at least in playing him, which was really fun to be able to play and play with that. So I had a great time doing that. It was absolutely phenomenal working with Mark and with Caleb and Michael and Paul as well. We just had a great time, and all the rest of the crew and cast. It was just amazing, really amazing experience. I think it's going to be a fantastic film. I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing all that. I think it's fascinating because you've all mentioned when playing people who actually existed, not characters who were dreamed up, and especially if it's someone who you've grown up learning about but not really knowing, and especially as you mentioned academically. I mean, who better to learn from than Dr. Black, right? And so
right.
That you I think that it really benefits all of us, because especially when their part in any story can tend to be abridged, we lose a lot of that humanity. And it's so easy just in humanity and in story anyway to characterize people as black or white, as good or bad, or as there are very few, there's not a lot of room for those complexities that you mentioned, that you get to know intimately when you study it. And I feel like this film is really going to bring to light a lot of those complexities and those personalities, and in the relationships, as Mark mentioned, that will be beneficial for people, especially this year as we are studying officially church history in our Sunday school classes. So good timing on that. You all have mentioned, and I just want to mention here, Paul, who plays Joseph Smith. He is not with us tonight, but I mean, from what everyone has said, I mean, great job. I can't wait to see it. As we've been mentioning, the film, it's witnessesfilm.com, and that is the website to go to not only watch the trailer that we shared at the beginning of this broadcast, but also something really important, which is to request showings of the film in your city. As we've been looking through all these comments, people watching from Georgia, from Maine, from the East Coast, even someone in Brisbane, I believe. That's where you go, witnessesfilm.com. You can see it right at the bottom of the screen. That's where you go to request a viewing in your city for theaters to bring it. And Mark, why is this an important film to be seen outside of, say, the Wasatch Front, the Salt Lake Valley?
You know, Joseph Smith, in the Articles of Faith, talked about the right that we have to believe. He said, we claim the privilege of worshiping Almighty God and allow all men the same privilege. Let them worship how, where, and what they may. That, I think, is important. That we are able to worship God in our own way. And you know what? Everybody else has that same, opportunity, and we need to respect them for that. And I think in today's world, we need to respect other people's beliefs. We should be talking about our commonalities rather than our differences. And that was one of my favorite things, was to work with guys that I have a lot in common with, and then guys that I don't have so much in common with, and grew to love them. Again, despite their differences, Michael and I, Caleb and I, I'm not sure that we would have run into each other without this opportunity. And just love those boys. So,
may I say something to what Mark was? There really is something special about what Mark just said. There was something that really happened on set between us and everyone, really. I mean, he's right. Maybe we would never have run into each other, but I think there's something very important what he's saying. You can believe what you want to believe and believe it, and everyone has that right. And I think that's the message of this film is there is power in belief. And I hope that that's what people will get from this. Whether you're a Mormon, whatever you are, just there's something positive from this that I think we all need as a commonality. We need to focus on more, and I think that's important. What Mark said. So that's it. That's all. That's it.
Excellent, thank you. I'd love to hear too what Lincoln and Caleb have to say along those same lines about just the importance of the message of why this film, how it can benefit audiences across the board.
You know, one of the things that really, and I'm not joking, that changed me by working on this film was this experience to see how people like Martin Harris weren't just people who lived a long time ago. They weren't just these historical figures. They were literal human beings who made mistakes, who had great triumphs. The way that Martin Harris became a human, like just a real person, like literally as an actor, it's my job to step into someone's shoes and experience what they were experiencing. And through the process of working on this film, I really came out of here loving this guy. You know, before from church history, most people just remember these, the 116 pages that were lost. And yeah, that was a significant event, but to know all these other amazing things that he did, which were actually much more significant, for example, funding the Book of Mormon, the printing of the first edition of the Book of Mormon was through mortgaging his farm. And, we say that in history class, right? But when you think this guy had to think, do I really want to put all of my life savings, all of my land up in the air for something that I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, he did that. And I just think we look back on historical characters with all this hindsight, and it seems very obvious what they should have done and where they made mistakes. But when you step into the shoes as an actor and live as them for a little while, they really just become real people. I love that. It literally changed me in the way that I see Martin Harris and pretty much any historical member of the church in the past. Wonderful experience.
Wonderful. Caleb, what are your thoughts?
I think I mentioned earlier, as an actor, I'm here to entertain, but also if you watch Witnesses, for example, and you feel that you've left changed, then I've also done my job. And I know that for me, talking about spirituality in general, I feel like I'm still on a personal search, and so being a part of this project has been part of that personal search. And I find myself to be a person of faith, but I haven't arrived at what that means yet. And so this process has changed me in a way that I would hope that the film would change the audience.
Wonderful. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Even people who would claim themselves as people of faith are still trying to figure it out, for sure. That's part of it, or exactly what it is. Real quick, rapid fire. Lincoln, Michael, Caleb, would you be friends with the characters you played? The men you played?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Oliver and I would have a contest about, whose scarf was a little tighter and more properly put and more buttoned up.
Cool.
Yeah, I would definitely be friends with David, because I think there's a lot more that he knows about horseback riding than I know about. So I would love it.
Wonderful.
I think Martin Harris would have been a little intimidating to me at first. So as long as we could get past, that he was a wealthy landowner and just kind of an upstanding pillar of the community, I think absolutely I would have become fast friends.
Awesome.
I wonder if David would want to be friends with me, to be honest with you.
I bet he would. I bet you would make him laugh all day long.
I hope so.
Wonderful. If there are any last thoughts that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear this. I know that we've got to wrap this up. I would like to also give. I have one last question for Mark too, but I'll just kind of throw it out there, which is, Mark, I'm wondering, what is your hope? If you have to just give an elevator pitch, just a one-liner for this film, like why should someone request that this film be shown in their city? Why should someone spend their dollars to watch this film?
I'll tell you what I love about historical films is that they move you because it really happened. And you're going to come to this film, you're going to be entertained, and you're going to find out that it really happened. And you're going to go to the internet afterwards, and you're going to get online, and you're going to say, okay, I want to know what really happened. And you're going to find that it really happened. And let me quote Michael Zuccola from an earlier interview, who said, belief is powerful.
And I just want to say, when I was reading through the script initially, I thought, because I had expectations going into it that it was going to be a religious film, and no, this is a dramatic theatrical film that is based on these true events, and I think it's compelling, whether you want to watch it for pure entertainment or if you want to watch it because it is something you personally believe in or if it's because you want to learn about the history. I think that Mark and team have done just such an incredible job with the script, the cinematography, the acting is on par from what I hear. And I haven't seen the film yet either, so it'll be a nice surprise to see it on the big screen. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to satisfy that entertainment bug, if nothing else.
Awesome. Let's bring Michael back on quickly too to see if he has any last thing you'd like to say. Michael, there you are. Right, 3, 2, 1, and.
I'm gonna say you know I got something to say. But, just going along with Mark and Lincoln and everybody, I really profound, and I'm so grateful. But going along with what Mark and Caleb, this is a retelling of things, and I would said sometimes that dialogue were things that men said. These were real things that they said and documented. This happened, which I find very provocative, and just because you really look at it from an outsider's perspective and you go, okay, that really happened. Yes, this really happened. And I think there's something extremely special about that. And I think the one thing, again, with this film and Mark, it's powerful to believe. Just believe. Believe in something. And I think that's what this will accomplish. I truly believe. I do.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you, Lincoln.
Can I say too? I think it's really interesting. Most of the people watching may know the story and how it turns out in the end, but I'll tell you, from history. But even me, who had studied a lot of this history, the surprises and the things that really happened, there were so many that I had no idea about. And so to me, a lot of the interest and suspense of this film is we know where some of these guys end up, but we don't know how they get there. And this is the telling of how they get from this amazing place of knowing so many things to how they end up in the end. And that is, it's an amazing and a fascinating journey. And I could not have imagined that this is how it went. And so even if you know how it ends up, it is still absolutely worth it, and even more important to see, because I think you're going to go on a little ride not knowing where every turn is, and that's part of the fun. That's absolutely going to be part of the fun and part of that inspiration that happens as you watch it.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The more we know about that, the more, empty spaces that we didn't know were there are filled in, the more compelling the story. And this film does sound quite compelling. We're really looking forward to seeing it. Again, yes.
I said there's some great drone shots in the film too. You got to.
Ooh, cool! I didn't know that they had drone shots in drones in the. Okay.
Mark put a camera on an eagle and flew it. Trained the eagle and flew it. Yes, this happened.
Is that a thing?
I was running out of it was it took one take. We had one take to do it, and
Well, that's fantastic. Oh my goodness. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again all so much for your time tonight. I think we're gonna go ahead and before we close out here, just want to say we're gonna end by showing the trailer one more time. Yeah. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Caleb and Michael and Lincoln and Mark for your time. Shout out to Purdie Distribution, who is responsible for this. Couldn't find a better team. The work they do is fantastic. And once again, remember to go to witnessesfilm.com to watch and share the trailer. Go ahead. I know there's a Facebook page. You can give that a like and kind of.
And request it in your city. Tell everybody. Go to the website and click on there and tell us what city you want to see it in.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of the big thing here, right? Is we know you want to see it. We need to know where to bring it. So, please hop on the website, witnessesfilm.com, and let us know where you are so that we can talk to Purdie Distribution and make it happen. So thanks, everyone, and hope you all are staying healthy and safe. And let's go ahead and close out by watching the trailer one more time.
The noise woke him.
David, I'm frightened.
I am right here.
Get your hands off! Let's go! Let's go! Now, later! Julia! Julia!
Oh, we're tired of you Mormons!
Which one of you is David Whitmer? You know Joe Smith? You were with him when he saw the gold plates?
Get up! Yeah!
Oliver, what would you do with 50 pounds of gold?
It's not about the gold, David.
You need to write this exactly as I dictate.
It's been truly remarkable.
There ain't no grave.
Martin, when will you believe? I need some proof.
Ain't no grave.
When the book is done, Joseph has been commanded to restore the true Church of Christ.
Restore. You will see the plates. The Lord has declared it.
When I hear that trumpet sound, gonna get up out of the ground. Ain't no grave. Gonna hold my body down.
I've lost my soul.
Why is this happening, Joseph? Did you not see God? Did he not speak to you?
Yes, but he doesn't speak to me now. This time, Martin, we will listen.
You are intoxicated by the power of leading a believing people.
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Cast them out! Cast them out! Cast them out!
Now, tell us the truth of your lie, and all will be forgiven.
I am afraid I might disappoint you. The truth is, it is not a lie.
There ain't no grave.